Magandang tanghali Pilipinas. Naku po, napakamagandang balita po no sa unang araw ng linggong ito no. Sa wakas po, parating na po ang ating mga bakuna. Natapos na po yung huling hadlang para magamit natin ang Sinovac para sa ating mga kababayan. Inaprubahan na po ng Food and Drug Administration or FDA ang Emergency Use Authorization or EUA ng Sinovac. At kinakailangan lamang ng gobyerno ng China ng 3 araw mula ngayong araw na ito kung kailan na-aproba ng EUA para maparating sa atin ang Sinovac. Ang sabi po sa akin ni Secretary Vince Dizon, ang ating Deputy Chief Implementer ng NTF, 1 araw lang man kinakailangan natin. So sa pang-4 na araw, baka po pwede na. Pero ayaw ko na po mag-promise, baka may mangyari na naman. Pero asahan po natin na wala na pong matagal na delay para magsimula ang ating bakuna. Pasensya na po kayo, naantala ng mga ilang araw lang naman, no? Dahil ako naman po sa manot mula, nanindigan ng talagang unang gagamitin natin ay ang Sinovac o ang Chinese vaccine. Pangalawa po, no? Nagdesisyon na po ang presidente, ha? Wala pa rin po tayong face-to-face classes sa bansa. Tumawag po kagabi ang presidente sa akin at ang sabi niya, ayaw po niyang mangalagay sa panganib o alanganin ang buhay ng ating mga mag-aaral at mga guro habang wala pa pong nababakunahan sa bansa. Sabi niya, may awa po ang Panginoon, baka naman po pagkatapos nating malunsad ng ating vaccination program, po pwede na tayong mag face-to-face sa Agosto, no? Lalong-lalo na dun sa mga lugar na mababa po ang COVID cases. Okay. Nasa Pilipinas po ang bagyong Auring na mula tropical storm ay humina at naging tropical depression. No? As of February 22, 2021, situation report ng NDRRMC, mayroong 13,816 families or 52,236 persons ang naapektuhan sa 216 barangay sa Region 10, 11 at Caraga. Sa bilang na ito, nasa 12,825 families or 49,236 persons ang pansamantalang nananatili sa 308 evacuation centers. Mahigit kalahating milyon or 510,158 pesos halaga ng tulong ang naibigay sa mga apektadong pamilya sa mga probinsya ng Agusan del Norte, Surigao del Norte at Surigao del Sur sa Caraga as of February 22, 2021. Sa COVID update naman po tayo, ito ang world rankings by country ayon sa World Health Organization at Johns Hopkins as of February 22, 2021. Total cases na 561,169, number 31 pa rin po ang Pilipinas sa mundo. Sa active cases na 26,238, number 45 po ang Pilipinas sa buong mundo. Bumaba po tayo from number 41, number 45 na po tayo. Sa COVID cases naman per 1 million population, meron po tayong 510.39. Number 135 po tayo, hindi po gumalaw. Pero sa case fatality rate po, no, medyo tumaas po ang ating case fatality rate, naging 2.2 at naging number 60 tayo from number 67. Meron po tayong 26,238 na mga aktibong kaso ayon sa February 21, 2021 datos ng DOH. Sa mga aktibong mga kaso, 93.3% ay mild at asymptomatic. Nasa 3% ang critical at 2.8% ang severe. Higit kalahating milyon or 522,843 po ang kabuuan bilang ng mga gumaling or 93.2% recovery rate. Samantalang malungkot namin binabalita na gaya na aking sinabi po na ang mga namatay sa coronavirus ay 12,088 na po. Nakikiramay po kami. Ito po ay 2.15% na fatality rate. Kamustahin namin natin ang mga lagay ng ating ospital? Okay naman po, no? Ang mga ICU beds natin, meron pa tayong 62% available. Ang ating isolation beds, meron pa po tayong 68% available. Ang ating ward beds, meron pa tayong 77% available. At ating ventilators ay meron pang 79% available. Okay, kasama po natin ngayon ang Philippine Ambassador to Russia, Carlos Sureta, para bigyan tayo ng update kung kailan naman po darating ang Gamaleya Russian vaccine na napabalita na 91% daw po ang efficacy rate. Ambassador Sureta, kailan po sa tansya ninyo matatapos ang proseso ng EUA para maparating na po natin ang mga bakuna galing sa Russia? Meron na ba ho tayong napirmahan man lang na term sheet? At kailan po kaya natin mapipirmahan ang supply agreement? The floor is yours, Ambassador Sureta.
Magandang tanghali, Secretary Harry. Magandang tanghali ho sa inyong lahat. Meron very advanced na ho yung discussions natin on the technical level with Russia. And right now, hinihintay lang natin additional information, technical data na hiningi ng Philippines. At pag nakuha na yon, I think that's the final step for our FDA to make a decision. And once they make a decision, the Russian side is ready to sit down and sign, which they have done already with over 30 countries, and there are 50 other countries lined up. So I think that's the next step. It's hard to give a hard date on it, but we're constantly asking for the follow up on this information from the Russian side.
Oh, Ambassador, bago po umalis yung dating Russian ambassador to the Philippines, nagsabi siya na gusto pa nga nila po na dito mag-manufacturing ng kanilang mga bakuna. Meron na po bang updates dito sa interest ng mga Ruso na dito mag-manufacture ng kanilang bakuna sa Pilipinas?
Yes, I understand. The Russians, meron silang polisiya na gusto nilang mag-partner sa ibang bansa. They've already partnered with at least 6 countries for local production, and that includes countries like South Korea and India. I understand that there are also discussions with our private sector, with the Russian private investment, the proprietary side of the Russian state enterprise. So I think if we are willing to, and I have no doubt that we are able to, we have the capability, we have the great people and expertise. Pero ang priority ngayon ay yung obtaining supplies from the Russian side. And it's important to be able to put our orders soon kasi ginagawa yun pagdating ng order. So hopefully it will happen soon enough.
Huling katanungan na lang po, no? Narinig ko po si Dr. Domingo ng FDA na nagsasabi na meron lang mga challenges pagdating sa translation at saka iba kasi yung proseso ng pag-approve ng bakuna dyan sa Russia kung kukumpira dito sa Pilipinas, no? Meron ba ho tayong hakbang na ginagawa sa ating embahada para matulungan na yung Gamaleya na masumite lahat po ng mga kinakailang isumite sa FDA nang sa gayon po lumabas sa lalong mabilis na panahon ang kanilang EUA dito sa Pilipinas?
Yes, the translation's not. I think there were initial issues, but I think that's been solved. Kasi ho yung data naman na binibigay sa lahat ng bansa, it's in language that they understand. So I think that's been solved, and we're just waiting for. In fact, na-process na yung initial information, no? Kaya humihingi pa ng additional ang ating FDA. So I think we're at that point na once a decision is made, an approval is done, if it's done, and we decide to proceed, could be readily available. Ang turnaround time, medyo mabilis. In fact, they're supplying 30 countries now, like I said. So if we make a decision soon and give the approval, I think the vaccines can come in a fairly quick amount of time.
Sir, meron na ba kayong linya na binuksan para kay Dr. Domingo para kung anong kinakailangan na tulong ng FDA,
Yes.
makatulong na po ang ating embahada dyan sa Russia?
Yes, there's a group that's working on this, and we are in direct touch with them along formal and informal lines, and we're trying our best to move things along. The Russian embassy rin sa Pilipinas is doing everything it can to help out in this process. It's at right now it's just at a technical level, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, maraming salamat, Ambassador Sureta. Please join us for our open forum. Baka marami pong tanong sa atin ng ating kasama sa Malacañang Press Corps. So, simulan na po natin ang ating open forum. Yusek Roque.
Yes, good afternoon, Secretary Roque. Good afternoon, Ambassador Sureta. Tanong from Evelyn Quiroz of Filipino Mirror. The IATF recommended that the President place the country under the more relaxed, modified general community quarantine. What do you think will be the President's decision on the matter?
I cannot second guess the President po. When he said we will discuss this in the cabinet meeting, he meant what he said. Let's discuss it collegially again. Pero sa akin po, ang tingin ko, inaabangan pa rin niya syempre yung data analytics.
Question for Ambassador Carlo Sureta. Russia's incoming envoy to Manila discussed the possible distribution of his country's COVID-19 vaccine in the Philippines in a meeting recently with you. What has become of this talk?
Ah, thank you, Yusek Raquel. Nice to see you again. Like I said, there's been progress on the technical level, and I wouldn't think myself expert enough to understand that. What I know is there's been active exchanges, and we're at the point where there's just another set of data that we need, and I'm making sure that this data gets to us in a form that it can be processed. And then after that, if we place an order, production can begin. Hindi kasi off the shelf ang vaccine. It has to be produced once the orders are in. I mean, once the contracts are signed. And this would be right now a government to government. Gamaleya is the only one producing as a government. The other vaccines around the world are essentially private.
Thank you, Ambassador. For Secretary Roque, from Jam Punsalan of ABS-CBN, follow-up po niya, the Octa Research Group said if Metro Manila is under MGCQ and hit by the same variant that affected Cebu City, it would take only 36 days for the region to return to its COVID-19 situation back in August 2020, when an average of 2,400 cases were reported per day.
Well, wala po akong reaksyon dyan. Unang-una, ang datos na tinitingnan po natin ay datos ng Department of Health na ginagamit din ng Octa Research. No? Pangalawa, sabi ko nga po, ayaw ko mong pangunahan ng ating presidente.
Thank you, Secretary.
Mela Lesmores, please.
Hi, good afternoon po, Secretary Roque. May first question lang po, follow-up lang po sa Sinovac vaccines. Since sabi ng FDA ito ay ideal para sa 18 to 59 years old na healthy people, paano po kaya ito hindi po pasok dito si Pangulong Duterte? Sino po kayang mga cabinet members yung willing na maunang magpaturok nito para sa vaccine confidence? Kayo po ba, Secretary Roque, ay willing po magpauna dito?
Nako, handang-handa na po ako. Kung papayagan po ako ng presidente at papayagan ako ng National Task Force, magpapauna po tayo. Pero maski hindi mo na tinanong, sasagutin ko na. No? Ano mangyayari dahil nagkaroon ng dalawang kondisyon po yung ating EUA ng Sinovac na hindi po pwedeng gamitin muna sa mga seniors at hindi po pwedeng gamitin muna sa healthcare workers? Well, magpupulong po yung tinatawag na NITAG. No? Ang NITAG po yung National Immunization Technical Advisory Group. Sila po yung bumuo ng list of priorities. At ang mangyayari po dyan ay siguro kinakailangan nilang baguhin muna yung ating list of priorities para sa Sinovac. Ang uunahin nila ay unang-una, no, meron kasing 100,000 na donated para sa militar, no. So kinakailangan magamit talaga yung 100,000 sa militar, no. At pangalawa, dahil ang ating first priority ay healthcare workers, pagkatapos mga seniors at other seniors at hindi sila po pwede, baka mauna na yung mga tinatawag nating mga economic frontliners na kasama po na ating kasundaluhan. Ito po yung mga nagtatrabaho sa mga industriya na bukas nung panahon ng ECQ. So tuloy-tuloy na rin po ang ating bakuna, no? Ang pagbabakuna. Hindi na po maaantala yan. Kung hindi maibibigay sa seniors at healthcare workers, napakadami naman pong mga critical economic frontliners na mabibigyan. At syempre, kung ma-aproban na at magkaroon na ng supply agreement na initial 1 million, no? 50,000 at 950, 1 million Sinovac, po pwede nating ituloy-tuloy at bakunahan na yung ating mga mahihirap na pinangako ni Presidente na sila po ang mauna sa bakuna. Hindi naman po natin pinili ito. Pero tignan nyo, meron talagang Panginoon na nagsabi, mauuna talaga ang mahihirap sa Pilipinas na magkaroon ng bakuna.
Opo, naku, thank you so much po, Secretary Roque. And second question lang po, ayon nga sa DOH, nadadagdagan pa yung mga nadedetect na UK variants sa bansa at sabi naman ng Octa Research ay tumataas din yung cases sa Metro Manila. Una po, anong reaction dito ng Malacañang at okay lang po kaya talaga na tayo ay lumipat na sa mas magang MGCQ despite these updates po?
Alam niyo po, ang inaprubahan ng inyong IATF ay magbukas ng MGCQ dahil unang-una, sapat po yung ating mga kama para gamutin ang mga magkakasakit. Pangalawa, matutuloy na po ang ating pagbabakuna at mauuna pa nga po sa hanay ng economic frontliners at saka mahihirap kung ito po ay maapruban ng NITAG at mamayang hapon po ang meeting ng NITAG. Pangatlo po, dahil po rito at dahil nakita natin na nagpapatupad ang mga Pilipino ng mas hugas-iwas, kaya po nagkaroon ng rekomendasyon na buksan na natin yung 95% na ating ekonomiya dahil napakadami po talagang nagugutom na. Pero kung sasabihin naman ni Presidente, nandyan na naman ang bakuna, hayaan na muna natin magbakuna, wala namang problema yan, no? Because recommendatory lang pong IATF at ang katotohanan, siyempre po, mas mabuti talagang nandyan ang bakuna at dahil aprobado na nga po talaga ang Sinovac, ibig sabihin, naririto na po mga Pilipino ang bakuna. So yung mga kritiko ng gobyerno, pasensya na po, talaga pong naantala na ilang araw, pero tuloy na po ang bakuna.
Opo, panghuling tanong na lamang po, Secretary Roque, sino-sino po yung mga makakasama mamaya sa cabinet meeting at ano na po kaya yung mga mahalaga mapag-uusapan bukod dito pa sa quarantine classification issue?
It's a full cabinet meeting po, no? Dahil nagdesisyon na si Presidente na wala mo ng face-to-face, wala na po sa agenda yan. Siguro po kasama sa agenda talaga yung MGCQ, no? At kasama rin po sa agenda yung aking pagre-reportan na mga hakbang para mapainting pa yung vaccine confidence ang ayon po sa isang pag-aaral na ating pinagawa po sa isang research group, no? So, hindi ko po alam kung mapag-uusapan ng usaping baboy, pero pagdating po sa usaping baboy, ang inaasahan natin ay mapipirmahan ng Presidente yung pagtaas po ng tinatawag na MAV, no? Yung pag-import ng mas maraming baboy, pero po, meron po kasing requirement na kinakailangan Congress must not be in session. So kung meron po maagrihan mamaya, it will be whether or not the President should sign the increased MAV sa volume, tapos ibang issue pa yung magkano po yung taripa na mai-impose.
Okay, thank you so much po, Secretary Roque.
Okay, punta naman tayo kay Yusek Roque muli.
Yes, question from Laila Salaberry of Inquirer. How much weight will the President give to the opinion of health experts who warn against easing restriction? Is the President open to deferring the shift to MGCQ, especially in Metro Manila, given these warnings? And what options is he considering?
Alam niyo po, when we recommended in IATF MGCQ, that included even the health sector. Dahil tinitimbang po natin mabuti. Totoo po, pwedeng tumaas ang kaso, pero ang katotohanan din, handa naman po tayo. Kaya nga po tayo nag-lockdown nung Marso, mag-iisang taon na, para nga ho mapa-improve yung ating health sector nang sa ganun, magamot natin yung mga magkakasakit. Nakita nyo naman po ngayon, 62% po ang available, no? So bagamat inaasahan nating tataas, hindi naman po lahat yan ay magiging matinding pagkakasakit, inaasahan natin na handa pa rin tayo. At yan yung ating titimbangin doon sa mga numero ng nagugutom na dahil marami pang sektor ng ekonomiya ang sarado. Pero gaya na aking sinabi, hayaan na po natin magdesisyon ng Presidente dahil ultimately, recommendatory lang po ang IATF.
Thank you, Secretary.
Okay, Tricia Tirada, please.
Hi, good afternoon, Spokes. Just to press on the Sinovac vaccine, no? The FDA, as you mentioned also, hindi po nire-recommend sa healthcare workers who are usually exposed to the virus because it's only 50.4% effective to healthcare workers. So now the question is, sir, if this is the efficacy rate, why are we pushing it to regular or the non-healthcare worker population?
I will quote the experts that we have had as guests here, no? Whether be it Dr. Solante, whether be it Dr. Lulu Bravo or Dr. Salvania, no? 50% efficacy rate is very much accepted, not just in the Philippines but by the WHO itself. Bakit? Because ang ibig sabihin yon, ang mga nabakunahan only has a 50% chance na magkakasakit sila. At pag sila'y nagkasakit, it's almost 80% chance na hindi nila kinakailangan pumunta sa doktor because it will be mild and asymptomatic. And 100% walang mahuhospital. So we are recommending it because what we want is to avoid deaths and serious illnesses. At dahil ang 50% efficacy rate ay ibig sabihin po niyan, mild and asymptomatic lang miski ikay magkasakit, kaya po natin gagamitin po yan because it's better than no protection. And as I said, ang iniiwasan natin ay yung pagkakasakit na seryoso o di naman kaya yung nakamamatay.
Mhm. So, sir, if people, for example, won't be seeing na hindi pa po ito pwedeng magamit sa healthcare workers, do you think it will have an impact on the vaccine confidence somehow as early at this point? Or would you want to address concerns na para it gives the impression na low quality yung bakuna na yan na mabibigay, bakit daw ibibigay sa mga mahihirap po?
Hindi po, dahil WHO na po ang nagsabi, 50% ang ating threshold. Dahil nga po, that's a 50% chance na hindi mo na makukuha at sakit and 100% chance na hindi ka mamamatay. Bakit naman hindi tatanggapin ang bakuna na magbibigay ng kasiguraduhan na hindi ka mamamatay dahil sa COVID-19? Baka masagasaan ka or iba pang, o mamatay ka sa gutom dahil sa lockdown, pero at least di ka mamamatay dahil sa COVID-19. No? Tingin ko naman, tatanggapin po yan ng taong bayan at sigurado po ako, kasama po natin ang Malacañang Press Corps sa pagpapahatid ng balita na mas mabuti po talagang mabigyan tayo ng proteksyon kesa wala po tayong proteksyon.
So, sir, just to be quite clear on this, our position is it's not a low quality vaccine. Tama
It
po
is
ba?
not a low-quality vaccine. It is accepted under standards arrived at by the WHO itself. It is a guarantee that yung mga nabakunahan hindi po mamamatay dahil sa COVID-19. It is a guarantee na kung ikay tamaan man, mild and asymptomatic ka lamang.
Mhm. Sir, dito lang po yung sa data po natin, diba, that we're seeing a slight increase in COVID cases in Metro Manila, and then there was a 200% increase, for example, in Pasay alone in 3 days. How will this factor in, sir, sa recommendation po ng IATF? Will the IATF revise its recommendation to place the whole Philippines or the entire country under MGCQ? And at the same time, sir, meron pa po ba tayong nakikitang difference between AGCQ and MGCQ? Or is it just, a matter of terminology na lang po at this point?
Number one, I cannot also speak on behalf of the IATF insofar as subsequent data are concerned. No? Siyempre po, yung meeting mamaya is also a meeting of the IATF kasi ang IATF naman, ang composition niya, yung mga members din ng cabinet. No? So I cannot second guess also how the IATF may or may not alter its recommendation given yung mga nangyayari ngayon. At yung pangalang question mo ay ano po yun?
Yung MGCQ and GCQ, are there
Okay.
still differences
Ang malaking diferensya po
or is
dyan,
it terminology na lang?
ang malaking diferensya po dyan, dalawang bagay. Public gatherings. Hanggang 10 lang po ang GCQ. 50% capacity po ang public gathering sa MGCQ at ang transportation po from 50% to 75%.
Mhm. Sir, since may cabinet meeting po mamaya, may address po ba si Pangulo?
Wala po.
Later.
Wala po. The talk to the people will be on Wednesday.
Alright. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Spoke. Salamat po.
Salamat, Trish. Back to you, Sec Roque, please.
Yes, Secretary, question from Lanes Capanti of GMA News Online. DOH Undersecretary Berhere said po na that vaccine manufacturers are asking for indemnity since COVID-19 vaccines are still under development, emergency use, not because of Demvaxia. Secretary Galvez po and yourself said Demvaxia was a big factor for seeking indemnity, which po ba daw?
I stand by the statement of Secretary Galvez because he is the vaccine czar. With all due respects to Yusek Berhere.
A question from Roy Mabasa of Manila Bulletin for Ambassador Sureta. Who is the local supplier of Sputnik vaccine? Has the company complied with the government requirements for the vaccine use in the country?
Thank you very much, Yusek Rocky. There is still no private partner in the Philippines for Sputnik. But I'd like to assure, this is not, hindi ito hadlang para kung magdesisyon tayo na kumuha ng Sputnik, magiging G2G po yung transaction. They're flexible. They can go with local partners. They can go with government. So wala, as far as I know, wala pa hong formal local partners na private sector. I know that there's been some interest from our private sector, which I think is good. But the lack of a private sector partner will not be hindi hadlang yun para matuloy kung magdesisyon tayo. Salamat. Yusek Roque.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Yes, Yusek Roque again. Hindi na pala. Sino na? Si Pierre Nada, please.
Hello Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, folks.
Go ahead,
Yes, sir.
please.
Sir, quick question lang, sir, on Sinovac. Did we have to sign indemnification clauses for Sinovac vaccine?
No, no.
Okay. Sir, also, may we know, you said that in 3 days or maybe four, dadating na yung first batch of Sinovac vaccines. May we know how many thousands of doses this is and what is the distribution plan? How many of these doses will go to Quezon City or Manila? Do we already have that since it's only a few days away?
600,000, these are the donated vaccines by the Chinese government. 100,000 reserved for the armed forces. So we will leave it to the AFP how they will proceed with their initial vaccination. But as far as the 500,000 is concerned, we already have the vaccination plan. But as a formality, the NITAG has to meet, and for purposes of Sinovac, they will have to amend their order of priority because obviously it cannot be given to healthcare workers and it cannot be given to senior citizens. I anticipate it will be first given to the armed forces and to the economic frontliners before we go to the indigents. But we're only talking of 600,000. So I think we will prioritize the military for the 100,000 and the economic frontliners for the first 600,000 dosage.
Sir, in terms of geographic location, because the geography or the places where they will be brought to is also part of the prioritization. And before you mentioned that areas which have higher transmissions will get priority for the vaccines arriving. So do we already know now na like maybe a fifth of this will go to Quezon City because it's the highest in terms of COVID cases? I mean, do we have this in terms of the cities it will go to?
We know that the three areas that will first receive the vaccines will be Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao. So because the number is 600,000, no, I think we already have the list of areas, no, depending on areas with the highest attack rates over a period of time.
Okay. And sir, the fact that we did not sign indemnification clauses with Sinovac, what does this mean for when we distribute the vaccine and baka magka-side effects yung Sinovac vaccine? So what then happens to the liability if we did not sign indemnification clauses?
There's a law being passed by Congress, and of course, the law is applicable to all vaccines. There will be an indemnity fund, and in case of side effects, there is no obligation on the part of the claimant to prove fault or negligence. They can recover from the 500 million peso indemnification fund.
Do we wait for this indemnification fund law to be passed before beginning vaccinations of Sinovac?
Hindi na po dahil ang inaantay lang talaga natin pagdating ng bakuna, no? But in any case, this might be a moot and academic question because I read from the news that both chambers of Congress are ready to pass this into law today.
Hmm. And then, sir, just lastly on the yung face-to-face classes, no, you said that the president already rejected this idea. Sir, will there be any more proposals on this made? You said it might not be discussed anymore in the cabinet meeting, but things like, for example, allowing at least college students or higher education students to go to face-to-face classes. Is this anything? Is this something that anyone in the cabinet would propose? Given yun nga, many cabinet members have said that we are already I think the last country to be still not holding face-to-face classes, at least in the region or in certain parts. Is this something that the president would be open to, or is he totally shut to the idea of any form of face-to-face classes being held before August?
I think this is without prejudice to any proposal that the Commission on Higher Education may have. Take note that we have allowed face-to-face classes in medical and allied medical degrees. Number two, it is also without prejudice, no, to the Secretary of Education submitting, no, all relevant information that they gathered, no, preparatory to their move to reopen discussion on the holding of pilot face-to-face classes. I understand that the Department of Education has conducted a survey involving at least 1 million respondents, and the overwhelming sentiment is that the learners themselves want to resume with face-to-face classes. And I think this is without prejudice to the Secretary of Education presenting this study to the President.
Sir, yung August date that you mentioned, yung potential first pilot test, is this something that the president himself said he would be open to?
Yes, it's something that the President personally relayed to me. And I guess what he is anticipating is that since we will begin vaccination this month, we would be way ahead of our vaccination program in August to give us the confidence to resume at least limited face-to-face education.
Sir, could I just ask a question of Ambassador Soreta?
Go ahead, please. Your last question, please.
Ambassador, do we have a commitment or any expression of interest from the Russian government to provide a donation of Sputnik V, just like China donated hundreds of thousands of vaccines of doses of Sinovac? Is there something like that on the way?
We have no discussions on donations, but what they have done is they're giving free vaccines here in Russia to Filipinos or foreigners because their policy is to vaccinate everyone to make everyone safe. So in that sense, there's a donation, and a number of Filipinos have already availed of the Sputnik vaccine here. And as far as I know, there's been no side effects. I mean, no serious side effects, just headaches and pain at the area of vaccination.
Was there any Sputnik V doses that the Philippine government will get for domestic use here in the Philippines will be paid for by the Philippine government? Is that correct?
That is our understanding. It is although it's a G2G, it's a commercial agreement. I have no instructions to ask for donations because we are willing to pay for, I understand, for the vaccines we need.
And once an EUA is issued by the FDA here, do we know how quickly Russia can bring the vaccines here if we agree to pay them?
The turnaround time has been. It will not come all at the same time because once the orders are made, it has to be produced. Like I said, it's not off the shelf. Production time has ranged from a few days to a few weeks, depending on the number of vaccines and the delivery amounts to be delivered, how much we need immediately, and then long term. These are details that do affect production and delivery times. Hard to speculate because the information will have to come from us and how much we need at this time immediately and in the long term.
All right. Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you,
Thank you
folks.
very much.
Thank you very much, Pia. Let's go back to you, Sec. Roque, please.
Yes, Secretary, yung tanong ni Laila Salaveria na Inquirer, nasagot niyo na po about Sinovac. May follow-up naman po si Rosa Licos ng UNTV. Nabanggit po sa mga nakalipas na pagkakataon na malaki ang may tutulong ng mga healthcare workers sa vaccine confidence. Paano po natin mapapagting ang vaccine confidence kung hindi po recommended ang Sinovac vaccine sa healthcare workers? Kabilang po ba si Pangulong Duterte sa maunang babakunahan pagdating ng Sinovac vaccines?
Well, obviously po, dahil sinabi po ng EUA, ng inisyu ng FDA na hindi muna natin gagamitin sa senior, hindi po mapapasama ang presidente sa nauuna. No? Pero ang mga doktor naman po, lahat po ng nakakausap kong doktor na matino, meron naman po talagang sablay. No? Pero yung mga matitino naman po ay sinasabi, basta aprobado ng EUA, magpapaturok din sila. So, yan naman po talaga ating sinasabi dahil dumaan po yan sa masusing pag-aaral. Nakita nyo po hindi minadali at hindi natin napilit na gumawa ng desisyon ang mga eksperto na ayaw nila. So, tumagal po ang proseso, naantala nga ang pagdating ng Sinovac, so wala po talagang nagpabilis sa proseso at nagkaroon po ng kondisyones. No? So, yan po ay basihan para tayo magkaroon ng kumpiyansa na talagang mga eksperto ay tinignan ng datos. At ang sabi nila, pwede gamitin para sa lahat except ang matatanda at sa mga healthcare workers. Dahil nga po, exposed talaga sila sa COVID-19.
Opo.
Yes.
Question from Sam Medenilla na Business Mirror. May naging action na po ba si President Duterte regarding sa MAV para po sa pork?
Okay, gaya na aking sinabi kanina, no, bagamat nag-aantay ng pirmayan ng ating presidente, kinakailangan naman po pirmahan yan pag hindi po naka-session ang Kongreso. So, tingnan po natin kung ano mangyayari. Kasi habang nasa session ng Kongreso, ang mga bagay-bagay tungkol sa taripa, dapat ang umakto ay ang Kongreso. No? Pero tingnan po natin nga ang mga pangyayari sa susunod na araw dahil emergency din po ang nangyari pagdating sa supply ng baboy dahil nga po naman sa ASF. Sabi ko nga, talaga nakakalungkot. Meron ng COVID-19, meron pang ASF. Joseph Morong, please. Joseph.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ambassador Soreta. Sir, the question is for you. Okay, schedule. So February, sir, Sinovac yung gagamitin natin sa first vaccination in the.
Nawawala ka, but yes, I can confirm that it looks like Sinovac will be the first vaccine that we will use in our vaccination program.
Okay,
Nawala.
babatiin ko lang po yung ating internet service provider, that is Sky, and it's Shopee. So, sir, next question. What happens now to Pfizer and AstraZeneca? I heard that there is already a notice from the WHO as far as their delivery is concerned. Are you aware of it?
I said that, no, that as far as AstraZeneca is concerned, they have sent a notice, and it's not just to the Philippines, but to all recipients, that AstraZeneca will be shipped out at the end of February, but warned that there may be delays because of logistical challenges.
So, Astra March, how about Pfizer?
Wala pa pong kasiguruduhan ng Pfizer. But we're only
So, not
talking of
even within the month.
115,000 doses anyway from Pfizer, no? So, hindi naman po talaga malaking issue yan. Ang malaking inaasahan natin, yung AstraZeneca at saka yung Sinovac, no, that will begin delivery of at least 1 million dosages for the next few months. Tapos, madodoble pa yan to 2 million kung hindi ko magkakamali ng pang-apat na buwan ata, yung second quarter maging 2 million.
Sir, okay. Yun pong bang Chinese government, have we already informed them of the decision of the FDA? I'm sure you have.
Yes, we have.
And, okay. And ano sabi po nila, kailan yung schedule ng dating? How soonest?
They could not commit a date, but it will take around 3 days from date of approval for them to ensure that the vaccines arrive in the Philippines.
Can we say, barring any unforeseen circumstances, again, within the week it will arrive?
We're praying it will arrive within the week. But I think the 3 days that they asked from date of issuance falls within the week.
Okay, sir. A little bit lang, sir, on MGCQ. Did you say you talked to the president this morning?
Last night.
Last night. And I think he has an inclination already as to when we are going to implement the MGCQ. I heard that, I don't know if you can confirm, that he wants the MGCQ only if we've rolled out the vaccine.
Medyo, I'm a bit uncertain whether or not I can confirm that. I was pursuing the issue last night, pero ang naririnig ko lang sa linya, medyo malabo rin yung linya, no, was steady muna tayo. But I'm not sure if he was referring to face-to-face or MGCQ because I was asking, paano po yung MGCQ? Paano yung MGCQ? Pero I wasn't sure kung nagkakaintindihan kami na my question was about MGCQ when he said steady muna tayo. So I'm not certain, no? But I think everyone in the IATF, which is the cabinet members, of course, would want to see also the data analytics from the experts first, no, before we proceed with the next quarantine qualification or
Sir,
classification.
if data yan, medyo delikado. Kasi ang sabi ng Octa as far as Metro Manila is concerned, we had a 45% increase in cases, new cases in Metro Manila. It doesn't inspire a relaxation of the MGCQ.
I'm not sure if it's 45%. I've not seen that, you know. And I'm sure the Department of Health that has the data would be in a better position to advise the members of the cabinet and the president later.
Sir, just last too many questions. Just should we wait for the vaccine rollout before we relax? Do you think that would be more prudent?
Well, the president said that as far as face-to-face is concerned, he wants to wait for the vaccine rollout. Hindi naman niya sinabi na matapos na lahat mabakunahan, no? Kasi talaga naman pag nabakunahan mo na yung Metro Manila, Cebu, Davao, halos 80%, wala ka ng problema eh. Dahil konti lang naman talagang problema natin sa iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas, no? So, tingin ko hindi naman matagal na masimulan yung proseso ng pagbabakuna sa Metro Manila, Cebu, and Davao. But I cannot second guess the President, Joseph, no? Baka mamaya pagalitan ako, no? Dahil hindi nga malinaw sa pag-uusap namin kahapon kung yung sagot niya na steady muna tayo referred to face-to-face or the MGCQ. Kasi tinatanong ko, nagka-clarification pero nawala na po yung linya.
Okay. Sir, na-revise na ba? If you're going to revise, obviously you're going to revise if you're using Sinovac. May listahan ba kayo, sir, nung ano bang isusunod niyo? Well, military, madali yan. But the frontline workers, the essential workers, does the local government set the list already such that we can begin as early as maybe next week?
Wala pong problema yan kasi ito po yung mga empleyado dun sa mga industriya hindi natin pinasara at syempre yung mga transport workers kasama na rin po dyan. No? So you're talking of farmers, we're talking of miners, we're talking of fishermen, we're talking of transport workers. So sila po yung mga economic frontliners na tinatawag natin. We're talking of export-oriented industries. We're talking of ano pa ba? BPOs. Yan po.
Yeah. Who holds the list? Sino may hawak ng listahan?
Meron na po tayong mga listahan na matagal na po nakalap natin yan because handa na nga po tayong maglunsad ng ating bakuna.
Sir, last na lang. If we're going to shift sa MGCQ next month, ano ba to, sir? Pati bangga na lang, matira matibay.
Hindi naman tama yun, no? Kasi unang-una, sinisigurado naman natin na mataas yung kakayahan natin na magbigay ng medical attention sa mga magkakasakit. 62% ng ating ICU beds are available. At ano nga ba yun? Bukod dyan, 68% ang ating isolation beds available, 77% ang ating ward beds available, at 79% ventilators. At uulitin ko, kaya naman tayo nagsarado ng ekonomiya, not for the heck of it, it was to prepare our health sector to attend doon sa mga magkakasakit ng seryoso. Dahil karamihan naman talaga ay asymptomatic and mild. Okay?
Alright, sir. Thank you for your time,
Maraming
sir.
salamat.
Thank you.
Joseph, punta tayo ulit kay Yusek Roque.
Yes, Secretary, question from Ace Romero ng Philippine Star. Clarification daw po yung possible face-to-face classes in August. Is it only for primary and secondary levels o kasali po ang college at postgraduate levels?
Gaya ng sinabi ko, that's without prejudice, no? Kung meron pang proposal ang CHED. Kasi ang pinagbawal naman ng presidente, yung sakop ng Department of Education, elementary at high school.
Opo. Tanong pa rin ni Ace Romero regarding this announcement that you are ready for a more relaxed quarantine status or MGCQ. Does it apply to Metro Manila or the entire country?
Well, yung rekomendasyon po ng inyong IATF was for the whole Philippines, inclusive of Metro Manila. In fact, marami nga nagsasabi na effectively, Metro Manila is under MGCQ already. No? So, but as I said, ilang oras na lang naman po mapag-uusapan na yan.
Opo. Tanong naman ni Laila Sanaberia, since hindi pwede si President Duterte sa Sinovac, ibig sabihin ba nito, Sinopharm ang ibibigay sa kanya kasi gusto niya Chinese vaccine?
He has said his preference is for Sinopharm.
Opo. Question from Trish Terada ng CNN Philippines. Paano po yung storage ng Sinovac? Ready na po ba?
Ay, wala pong problema dyan. Ordinary refrigeration lang po yan.
Opo. Question from Jenaline Kabiling na Manila Bulletin. Did the government bungle the vaccine procurement process? Senator Frank Drilao said the delay in vaccine delivery was due to mismanagement, not indemnity requirements by vaccine suppliers. Your reaction, please.
Well, we obviously disagree. No? And malinaw po yan. No? Meron tayong liham. Hindi po madideny ang liham na galing sa COVAX na mid-February darating yung Pfizer at saka yung AstraZeneca. Kaya nga lang po, may mga natakot na manufacturers dahil dito lang naman sa Pilipinas nadidemanda ang mga bakuna na inaprubahan hindi lang ng FDA kung hindi ng WHO. No? At siyempre, kinakailangan protektahan nila yung kanilang mga interes. Baka mamaya makulong sila, sila na nga gumagawa ng bakuna para sa COVID-19. No? So anyway, they're entitled to say what they want. Pero gaya na aking sinabi, sandali lang po ang kaligayahan ng ating mga kritiko dahil tuloy na po ang ating vaccination program. Enjoy it while it lasts for a very short while.
Thank you, Secretary Roque.
Yes, thank you po. Melo Acuña, please.
Magandang hapon po, Secretary Harry. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Po sana kay Ambassador Carlos Oreta mula sa Russia.
Go ahead, please.
Ambassador.
Hello, Sir Melo. Magandang tanghali po.
Magandang tanghali po. Nice to see you virtually. Kita po ba ninyo yung phase 3 results doon sa Sputnik vaccine. Ito po kaya epektibo para sa mga Pilipino?
Thank you very much, Melo. My understanding is it will be effective. The phase 1, 2, and 3 results have been published in its entirety in an open source, and it's available to anyone who wants to examine it. We have received assurances that it will be effective in Filipinos. They are now using the Sputnik vaccine in almost all continents. And the reports have been quite positive in terms of side effects and effectivity. So far, I think FDA will decide, no? But from the information we have, it should be applicable to those of us in our country.
Opo. Nabalita na po ba ninyo kung may mga kababayan tayo sa Russia na nabakunahan at kumusta naman sila?
Meron po, madami na po dahil inalok ng libre ang vaccine kahit sa mga foreigners dito. Meron na hong mga Pilipino na nag-avail. It's also available commercially kung pupunta ho sa private doctor. Pwede rin ho. May mga nag-avail ng vaccine ng ganun. Pero madami lang kasi yung vaccine available sa malls eh. They made it aside from medical centers in our areas. They set up vaccination facilities in the malls. Madalas sa Pilipinas sa mga malls, medyo siguro pagkatapos ng shopping o food court, dadaan sa vaccination center. I've met some of them. They're quite happy about it. In fact, they've been posting it on Facebook, so they're quite happy. I have not heard of any serious side effects.
I see. Thank you very much for the update. Keep safe. Para po kay Secretary Harry Roque naman ang aking tanong. Kung sa Russia po ay nagbibigay ng libreng bakuna sa mga banyaga, meron po kaya tayong ganun ding reciprocal consideration for foreigners in the Philippines?
Wala pa po tayong ganyang polisiya, pero inaasahan ko po na bubuo rin po ng ganyang polisiya ang IATF kasi nga po yung anyo ng COVID, wala namang kinikilala yan na nasyonalidad o kasarinlan o kulay, no? Pare-pareho po basta tao hinahawa niya, no? So, importante rin po na magkaroon talaga ng polisiya na lahat ng tao sa Pilipinas ay mabigyan po ng bakuna.
Opo. Secretary Harry, natanggap ko po yung isang statement ni Bishop Jerry Alminaza mula po naman sa Church People Worker Solidarity. Ito po'y tungkol kay Ginoong Otto de Vries. Pero para bukas na siguro ito. Pakisuyo lang kung malaman kung ano ang naging dahilan at kinansila yung kanyang permanent residency sa Pilipinas at kung bakit siya pinababalik na sa kanyang bansang pinagmulan.
Salamat at linabas mo yan ngayon kasi wala akong idea kung ano yan. But we'll find out for tomorrow. Okay?
Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Melo. Okay, wala na po tayong katanungan ngayon, pero ngayon po kasama natin ang ating isang bisita. Wala pong iba kundi ang aking matalik na kaibigan, ang Vice Mayor po ng Batangas City, Vice Mayor Berberabe. Welcome, Dr. Berberabe. At talaga naman sa panahon ng pandemya, importante na ilan sa ating mga namumuno ay doktor din. At isa po dyan si Dr. Berberabe. Ano po yan ha? Mayaman na po yan sa Amerika. Ginibaap yung kanyang napakayamang practice sa Amerika para bumalik at magbigay serbisyo sa ating mga Batanggenyo. So dahil wala na po tayong mga tanong, maraming salamat. Classmate, Ambassador Carlos Sureta, thank you for your time and sana we can have you again soon. Maraming salamat, Yusek Roque. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga kasama sa Malacañang Press Corps. At dahil wala na pong tanong, mga kababayan, sa ngalan po na ating Presidente Rodrigo Roa Duterte, ito po ang inyong spokes, Harry Roque, nagsasabi, nariyan na po ang bakuna, pero ingat po muna tayo samantala, mask, hugas at iwas. Magandang hapon, Pilipinas!